Welcome back to the Intel. I've got to tell you and give you a teaser. In about 10, 12 minutes thereabouts, I'll be in conversation with Mandla Langa, right? The writer and poet, South African legendary writer and poet. He's got this book out, and it's a great read. And I've got to tell you, take it from me, as someone who, at the moment, I'm only reading those books for which I get marks at the moment. So, but once I picked it up, it's, and I know it's a bit of a cliche, unputdownable, right? So I look forward to that conversation with Mandla Langa in our profile segment here on the Intel. But on the Intel, let me continue with my conversation then with Wouter Wessels from the Freedom Front Plus ahead of the elections. So, Mr. Wessels, thank you for staying with me. Take the conversation then about your belief in merit being key and being the number one value that should be pushed, and related to your opposition to broad-based black economic empowerment and affirmative action, which is clearly stated, and you make no apologies for that. Is that based on the belief that it's not possible to have merit while at the same time affirming previously disadvantaged groupings as envisaged in the Constitution?
Well, the problem is that black economic empowerment has failed. It has not empowered the people that were disadvantaged by the previous system. It has only advantaged a small elite, and it actually became black elite empowerment. And that is the problem. Affirmative action per se has also not resulted in people actually being empowered, because skin color has been used as a generalized indicator of being disadvantaged and not actually socioeconomic factors which should be used. But the real problem is that if merit is not used, then there's cadre deployment. People are appointed that cannot do the job. And once again, if you go and look at government departments, if you look at state-owned entities, if you look at municipalities, we have a big problem, and everybody in South Africa is suffering due to that. Those people that should be receiving services, who did not receive services in the past, are also not receiving services now because of affirmative action and cadre deployment, which resulted in a situation where municipalities are failed organizations and are not delivering services to the people. So we say, appoint the best person for the job, get service delivery going, and don't create new injustices. Also, it is quite demeaning to reduce a person to only a skin color. That is not in the interest of building a better future and creating equal opportunities. We need a society of equal opportunities where people are empowered due to their socio-economic circumstances, not their skin color, where people are appointed, where people are selected due to being the best person for the job or the position, and not due to a skin color, because that is demoralizing.
Do you accept that socio-economic disadvantage in this country historically coincided with skin color, being black, that you are more than likely, and it can be proven by statistics, you are more than likely to have been historically disadvantaged in a multitude of ways, at least socio-economically, if you are black?
Well, exactly. So why not use socio-economic circumstances as the indicator? Why still use skin color? Why do we still repeat the wrongs of the past and use skin color as an indicator and not move past that? That is what we need in South Africa, is to create a better future. And if we use socioeconomic circumstances, we are going to address those who had abundance of potential but could not fulfill their potential because of the flaws in the system. And we are not going to create new injustices or reduce a person to a skin color. So that is why we're saying we need a new dispensation of equal opportunities and not repeating the wrongs of the past.
So if the, part of our demographic, part of the demographic groups in the country is coming from a low base, and the other groups or segments of our society are coming from a slightly advantaged base, how would you, as the FF Plus now, not being reactive to, broad-based black economic empowerment and affirmative action as currently implemented, but you as the FF Plus, how would you then go about achieving the goals that are clearly and expressly envisaged in Section 9(2) of the Constitution that says, this clause around equality does not preclude measures being taken, to advance those who are historically advantaged. So how would you go about it differently?
Well, we firstly need skill transfers. We need black development and black skills transfer, which currently does not occur. Black economic empowerment does not really empower or develop any communities or anybody with regards to being disadvantaged and not having skills because of the flaws in the system. So we need better education, we need skill transfers, and we need programs which actually empower and not only enrich, because we know what happens with regards to black economic empowerment and what happens with entrepreneurs, what happens with projects which should be to the benefit of the people out there, but are not, and money is being wasted. There isn't money left anymore in the fiscus, and we are in economic recession. So we need to rethink how we are doing things and to get the economy going, which will be to the benefit of everybody, those who were disadvantaged, those who are currently disadvantaged, and those who do not have opportunities currently will be developed if there's economic growth. And that is what we need. We need to get the private sector going so that job opportunities are created. We have a national crisis with regards to unemployment, and that should be addressed. And then you have development, then you have sustainable empowerment, and then you can create a society of equal opportunity.
Right. Mr. Wessels, because of time, let me fast forward this conversation and talk and bring it back to the conversation around the upcoming local government elections. Listening to you and your reasoning as a party around these issues that we've been traversing in the last few minutes, I can't help but notice the similarities with the conversations that were happening not so long ago inside the DA, the question of whether race is a proxy for disadvantage. In fact, that's how it was phrased in the Democratic Alliance and the debates that happened towards their elective conference. Does the DA worry you in that, to the extent that some in the commentariat have read it as being still cut up about having lost some voters to you? So are you worried that the DA is now sort of trying to polish its language around some of the matters that you and I have been discussing in the last few minutes with the express aim of clawing back some of the supporters that it lost to you as the FF Plus?
We know that's what I said in the beginning, is we don't change our policies. We don't change any of our constitution or our policies just to get more voters. And a party that does that does not have any stability. They flip-flop and they change just with regards to or in accordance with what their polling shows. And that's not a good base to have. But the electorate out there must decide. Do they accept a party that flip-flops, or do they accept a party that's steadfast and stays with its policies because it regards that as the solutions to the problems? And we're not worried about the DA. We believe that we are on the right track, that we are doing what we should be doing, and we are telling voters and showing voters why they should entrust us with their vote and what we will do to better their livelihoods and get service delivery going. And that's the most important part. We're not worried about our opponents. We believe that after this election, there will be coalition governments. We will form coalitions and we will serve the interests of our electorate in those coalitions and carry in our policy directions in those coalitions.
In fact, you bring me to the last point I want to raise with you, that issue of coalitions. But also, if I ask you the question perhaps more pointedly then, do you believe that you will be a governing party in any context in South Africa in this upcoming election or any subsequent election, or have you made peace with being an opposition party perennially?
Well, we believe that the future of South African politics lies with coalition governments. And this election will be, there will be more coalitions, there will be more municipalities where no single party will have a 51% majority, and where coalitions will be formed, and that will form a basis for upcoming elections and even national and provincial elections. Because a coalition government serves the community much better because there's a balance of power. Where one party governs, we can see it in various municipalities and nationally, that party starts to abuse its power, starts making decisions based on political gains and not in the interest of the communities out there. And that is why we believe that we will be a kingmaker in many municipalities after this election, and going forth, that will be the role that we will play. And that is an important part of South African politics because of the proportional electoral system allows that. The Constitution allows for multi-party participation in elections, and we believe that is the way forward, and which will serve the interests of communities much better.
All right, Mr. Wouter Wessels, thank you so much for your time and your insights. I will be seeing you, I guess, at the National Results Operating Center there, when we'll all be glued to the screen there as the numbers start to come in. Let's see how it turns out for you this time around. That's Wouter Wessels there. He's from the Freedom Front Plus. He's just been talking to me about their expected performance in the upcoming local government elections.